What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics, and today we got a unique one. We got the top 10 songs with the word black in the title, brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter and patron of the channel, Joseph. Thank you, Joseph. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons that make this thing go. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out the Patreon link below or the Patreon link on the end screen. It takes a lot of man hours to get this channel done. We love it. It's a labor of love, but we put up videos every single day, so any support you would consider is greatly appreciated. All right, there's not a lot of background on here. We'll see what Joseph said. Most assuredly not a definitive top 10 list here, just a selection of 10 songs called Black Something, sorted into pairings, some of which are more arbitrary, loose than others. So Joseph's a creative guy. He's an actor. He's a really great dude. Knows a ton about music. So, obviously I don't have any background on black songs. And we'll kick this thing off with Pair 1, 2010 albums openers from veteran Brit bands. Joseph says, we'll kick this thing off in relatively familiar territory. Then check out a band led by one of the finest voices in the UK scene that you will never have heard of, Steve Overland. I have not. So our first track, it's not on Spotify, and it's no surprise knowing Joseph. We got Magnum, Black Skies from the album The Visitation in 2011. Joseph says, opening number Black Skies is a wonderful example of what Magnum does best. With its brooding riff, singing bass line, layers of atmospheric keys, and Catway's soaring vocals, immediately drawing into the world that Magnum creates. Those aren't my words, but the words of Stephen Reed, who, as part of the UK connection on Sea of Tranquility, accounts for most of my non-RTTC YouTube viewing these days. So shout out to those guys. As you can see from this quote, it is because he is wise. As you can't see from this quote, also very funny. I know a couple wise guys who are very funny as well. I don't know. You may be watching one of them. All right. I'm going to have the lyrics up as always. If you haven't joined us before, the music won't be in this video, but it will be at a Vimeo link below. Thanks again, Joseph. Let's go. All right, Black Skies, Magnum. Everything you'd want. A minute 17 build, and then we just bust into it, right? A slow build. Great guitar work. The lyrics, who knows? Maybe the rapture's coming. Could possibly be, but it's not really about that. It's about the feel of these songs, man. I don't want to make assumptions, but if you like 80s hair metal music, which people just absolutely hate and trash nowadays, but I loved it, so oh well. You're going to love this, and I'm not saying it's not more advanced than that, but just that kind of build into it. Great guitar riff, like I said, vocals are nice. So a good starting point, and we had to get Magnum in there. Next up, we got our other song that is not from Spotify. FM, the song Black Magic from Atomic Generation in 2018. FM are a British rock band referred to as FM UK in North America to avoid confusion with the Canadian progressive rock band FM. Okay. They released 13 studio albums to date. 3 reached the UK albums chart, and that's all I could find about them. So when Joseph said that I wouldn't have ever heard of Steve Overland, their lead vocalist, he was right. It's hard to find anything about the group. Not only do we got to go to YouTube, but they don't even have lyrics on Genius, which is what I use all the time, but I found them. All right, let's do it. Okay, so I mentioned 80s hair metal before. Now, this is absolutely my teenage years, right? We get the great guitar. I'm not even going to get into the lyrics of it. I think there's about 100,000 different sexual innuendos mixed up in here. It starts out with this girl who, our protagonist is trying to convince her that maybe your man is cheating on you, so come over here. Then he's got the secret potion, the secret love potion, and we'll just leave it at that. But, if I was going to pick a winner between these two battles, or these two songs, that's kind of how I should probably do it, right? I'm actually going to go with this song, with FM, Black Magic. Joseph may turn this off right now since I didn't pick Magnum, but that one was a good one. So let's move on to pair 2. And Joseph says these are 70s classic rock singles. He opted against having you react to Black Water for a third time, and Black Dog was another option. It seemed a little too obvious. So we're going Steely Dan, the song Black Friday from Katie Lied in 1975. Joseph says, and I know you did react to this one with Trey a fair while ago on, I believe, only the 3rd top 10 list in RTTC history. See, Joseph knows that, yes, we did, and I don't remember any of it, right? That was a long time ago. But it's obligatory for me to include at least one song on a random list that has Jeff Porcaro on drums, and Paige happens to be on this one too for an added bonus. See, with Joseph, you're going to get either Magnum, Marillion, Toto, there's a few others, but that's who you're going to get in here. In one form or fashion or some sort of connection to him. It truly is a gift. And I found some stuff on this. The album was the first after the disbandment of the original Steely Dan quintet. This album marks the first appearance of course, singer Michael McDonald on a Steely Dan album. Jeff Porcaro, as I already mentioned, was then only 20 years old as playing the drums. Band leaders Becker and Fagen were dissatisfied with the album's sound quality because of an equipment malfunction and the then new DBX noise reduction system. The group has claimed that the damage was mostly repaired after consulting with the engineers at DBX, but Fagen and Becker still refused to listen to the completed album, which is always crazy. But all right, let's do it. Little Steely Dan. All right, Black Friday. Steely Dan, if you watch this channel a lot, you know I'm like the only member of our entire community that's not a huge Steely Dan fan, but I do recognize him for their greatness. This had it all. Great vocals, fantastic instrumentation and musicianship, what you would expect. The guitar work was great. Black Friday, not the shopping day here in America, but Black Friday, so financial collapse, right? It happened in 1869 with gold, it happened in 1929 with the stock market here in the U.S. So they kind of find some ways to get out of that. In verse 2, they talk about Muswell Brook, Australia, but it's really Muscle Brook is what the people there call it. But Fagen said they just chose that town because it seemed like the farthest thing away from L.A., and that it fit the meter and, of course, rhymed with books. There's no big reason why they used it. But this one is going to be hard to beat. But let's see what Joseph paired it against. We've got Deep Purple, Black Knight. It was a non-album single in 1970. Once the album Deep Purple and Rock had been completed, the record label EMI asked for a suitable single to be recorded to help promote the album. Though Roger Glover states that Ricky Nelson's 1962 hard rocking arrangement of the George Gershwin song Summertime was the basis for this single, it's also similar to Blue Magoo's 1966 psychedelic hit song, We Ain't Got Nothing Yet. All right, let's see what the boys from Deep Purple have for us. Wow, Black Knight. I don't know, man. I thought going into this, Steely Dan was going to be hard to beat. I mean, obviously, Blackmore's guitar work, Richie Blackmore, is phenomenal. The drum working by Ian Pace, I mean, all of it, man. I mean, Ian Gillan's vocals are nice as well. John Lord on the organ, great name. Whew, the song itself, just talking about some bad things he doesn't want to happen to him. It's Black Knight. Whew, okay, winner of this pairing. I have a theory of recency bias that I use when Trey and I do song battles, that usually the last song, if it's pretty close, the last song will win because it's the last thing in your head. So I'm trying to avoid that here, but I think I'm going to have to go with, I just think the guitar work is just next level. So I'm going to have to go with Deep Purple, Black Knight, and probably a little bit of an upset for some of you out there in RTTC land. And now we're up to pair 3. We have 2010's European hard rock / metal. Joseph says I usually do 70s heavy lists. So to have 70s tunes outnumbered by tracks from the 2010s is a novelty, right? Very much so indeed. Genres that the States abandoned post-grunge are still alive and well in Europe. Here's a couple of examples. We got the first track up is Avantasia. That's how I'm going to say it. Who knows? Black Wings from the Wicked Symphony album in 2010. German Tobias Sammet is the mastermind of this rock metal opera outfit, which has seen him joined on albums and or tours by luminaries including Bob Catley. Yep, that's how I came into the fold. How did you guess? See, I told you. I told you Joseph can tie everything back. Michael Kiske, Jeff Tate, Eric Martin, and many more. And we've got Ralph Dyerstek. I know Joseph wanted to see me try to pronounce that. Taking the lead here. However, Joseph says, and I can tell you precisely nothing else about it. So I saw that as a challenge. I'm a research guy. I wouldn't try to challenge him. Yeah, I can tell you nothing about him either. Well, let's check it out. Black Wings, Avantasia. The song went quick, man. It's 4.5 minutes long. I thought it went quick. I don't know if these lyrics are, I know the lyrics are right, but Ralph supposedly sings everything up to the chorus and the bridge, and then Tobias sings that. And I was trying to figure out, is that a different voice? I think it is, but I think the song is either about Satan or the sin inside of you, but put in an interesting way, the way they do it. But the arrangement, the guitar riff, all of it's like a broken record from some earlier songs. But, I like the vocals. I thought it added some drama there, as these songs want to do after the arrangement, after the instrumentation buildup. So I actually like that a lot. Let's see what Joseph paired it against. We have Eclipse with Black Rain from the Momentum album in 2017. Joseph says a spot of Swedish hard rock now from the band led by the perennial youthful Eric Martinson. I first saw them in a festival lineup in 2012, at which point he was roughly 40 and looked about 12. Now he's roughly 50 and looks about 12. I hate him, Joseph says. I'm 51. I bet Joseph's hate for me is just boiling. All right, Black Rain. I thought this was going to be a close battle. It is actually not for me. Black Rain, fantastic. Going to run away with the battle of these two songs in the European hard rock slash metal. I mean, Black Rain, I don't know. There's a lot of bad stuff going. He's saying all you can do is rely on yourself, but you can rely on me. He kind of says too, because he's got to walk the walk, talk the talk. But you know, the gentle fade in, the gentle coda at the end, the just absolutely great guitar work, the harmonies on the Black Rain. I mean, let's go Eclipse, Swedish hard rock. Who knew? Now we're going to shift gears a little bit. We got part 4. It's Vietnam War inspired tunes. We got Dennis DeYoung, Black Wall from Back to the World in 1986. Joseph says, when it comes to all things Styx, I fall much more into Team Tommy. I agree, Tommy Shaw. But Dennis could sometimes pull one out of the bag, and I'd argue this is one of those times. I like Dennis DeYoung too. I think he takes maybe a lot of hate he shouldn't, but in a recent interview, he recalled I was 1A in 1967. That was the year they had the biggest call-up. I'd lost my deferment. I took my physical. Every day I went to the mailbox going, oh God, this is it. Blue-collar, working-class family, my draft board in Chicago sent more people to Vietnam than any other draft board in the entire Midwest. I was just waiting for the call, and you know what happened? Didn't come. Then the next year they had the lottery, and I had a high number. So when I say in the opening line, I was lucky, I wasn't there. I didn't have to go and face my fear. That's me. I'm telling you my story. I would have went. What was I going to do? My dad was a World War II decorated veteran. I never protested the war or marched. I wasn't that kid. So I would have went, and there would have been no Styx. But like I said in the song, I'm lucky. That was no place to be. My best friend until he died a few years ago was a disabled Marine vet who lost 70% use of his arm in battle. That's why I got involved with the whole parade in Chicago in 1986. The biggest Vietnam Veterans Parade ever held in America. He and I and a bunch of others put together the committee for the parade. I'm getting the chills just sitting here because 250,000 people showed up in Chicago from everywhere to march down the city streets and be thanked. Then I played the concert, and I played Black Wall 3 times. I played the concert in Grant Park, and they kept yelling for Black Wall. I had to play it 3 times. All right, I've never heard this, looking forward to it. All right, Dennis DeYoung, Black Wall, documenting the U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War and just how many senseless young men died, for no reason. When he starts out with, I was lucky, I wasn't there and didn't have to go to face my fear, but still this hidden pain comes up from the belly of the beast. And even 10 years past, we're haunted now from both sides of the truth. This war just keeps hanging on as if it were today because many good men died. And then you get that Black Wall, that great guitar stuff in there, and then sound the bugle boy for a 21-gun salute, call for the ticker tape, and assemble all the troops. Not a word about dominoes or the horrors of napalm. Let Johnny come marching home, and greet him with a prayer and a song for the boys of Vietnam. Let Johnny come back to the world. And then you get that outro, back to the world. Just powerful, man. And I'm telling you, the country, I'm from the United States. I'm in the States. This country, man, we've lost so many young people in senseless wars that just didn't matter. And it's just tragic, man. It's tragic. So on that note, let's go to the second offering in the Vietnam War inspired tunes. We have Renaissance, the song Black Flame from Turn of the Cards in 1974. Before I get to Joseph's, I had to do a little research on Renaissance, are an English progressive rock band. They developed a unique sound combining a female lead vocal with a fusion of classical, folk, rock, and jazz influences. Characteristic elements of the Renaissance sound are Andy Haslam's wide vocal range, prominent piano accompaniment, orchestral arrangements, vocal harmonies, acoustic guitar, bass guitar, synth, and versatile drum work. The band created a significant following in the Northeast United States in the 70s, and that region remains their strongest fan base. Joseph says, and for a much more abstract take on the same subject, here's one of my favorites from a relatively new band to me. Yes, it's great to still be able to find new bands from the 70s at this late stage in life. I agree 100%. Thank you, Spotify, YouTube, and all the other things we have to expose us to new music, new to us. Where's this Betty Thatcher recalled in the 1993 interview? I know exactly why I wrote that. It's about the Vietnam War. I was talking to somebody at a party, and they said that they thought killing was so bad it was terrible. And I said, yes, of course. And they said, so we should take the Americans and line them up against the wall and shoot them. And I said, well, can't you hear what you're saying? That's killing them. You're being crazy. And I went home from the party and thought, yeah, but everything's like that. It's crazy. We're all the same. Badness in people is in us. People don't think we're bad, but we are. We're all capable. Very true. Black Flame, a wonderfully written and performed song just about our dark human nature. I know that She said that it goes back to the Vietnam War, so that's why Joseph put it here. But it actually can be, universal to things about that darkness in all of us, so to speak. Um, yeah, man, that was a powerful song. She sounded great. I just really enjoyed it. I mean, I don't know if I can pull out any lyrics here. They're really, I'll pull out a few lyrics here. Now I'm weak, I'm losing, I never thought I'd stop trying. I'm a lie, I'm just a sigh, just a crying, just a symbol of the game. Suspended pain, I cannot face the black flame. Intended fear, I cannot trace the black flame. Extended, reaching into space, the black flame burns my blackened brain. So, yeah, man, that song was great. I mean, like I said, you wouldn't know it's about the Vietnam War unless you read about it. So I don't really know how to how to choose a winner here, because Dennis DeYoung was obviously more direct, but I thought this was a better song. So I guess Joseph put the list together, but I'm choosing here. So I'm going to take Renaissance by Black Flame for the winner of Vietnam War inspired tunes. But hold up, there's more. We got one more 2-song pairing. Our last pairing, all-time legends. Joseph said pretty self-explanatory. I should think that this is true. I don't even need an explanation for that, Joseph. You see it, boy. We got David Bowie, Black Star, from the Black Star album in 2016. Bowie died just after the release of this album, and some have pinpointed that moment as the beginning of the end for humanity. This is what Joseph says. Not sure I disagree with that possibility. Things certainly haven't got better in their intervening near 7 years. But anyway, he went out on a high, in my opinion. I found this was a lead single. Only went to 61 in the UK, 78 in the US, won 2 Grammys. At 9:57, it was the longest song to enter the Billboard Hot 100 charts, overtaking another one of Joseph's favorites, Harry Chapin's A Better Place to Be, until Tool broke the record in 2019 with Fear Inoculum. Wow, okay. I've only ever heard this song once. I listened to this album once for our album draft. I liked the album. I didn't love it. If I remember right, don't hold me to this, that this had a lot of sounds of the Low era, the Low album in 1977, which, little hit and miss on. But yeah, let's check it out. Black Star. No one knows what this song's about. Tony Visconti wouldn't say, Bowie wouldn't say during his lifetime. Obviously it takes on added weight considering the fact that he passed away, right after his release, basically. So I don't know. I mean, it definitely is just so experimental. I mean, I don't really feel it, but I get the art of it, and I get, the accomplishment of it. And I surely don't want to degrade it as as David's parting shot. He can surely do that however he wants. It shows just a high level of creativity of David, even at this point of his life. And I'm a huge Bowie fan. I mean, his run in the early to mid 70s is just unmatched by about any solo artist. He's in my discussion for the greatest solo artist of all time. So this is nothing against David at all, but still definitely an appropriate track to be on here on this list that Joseph chose. And, it's still a good tune. It's just, it's too long for me, but I realize that's the idea of it. So I can say I don't get it while still recognizing the accomplishment and the beauty of it. You see it below, our last offering, our pairing with Bowie of all-time legends, the great Gordon Lightfoot. The song Black Day in July from the album Did She Mention My Name in 1968. And this one's about the 1967 Detroit riots. Was banned on many American radio stations. Joseph ranks it alongside Early Morning Rain and Canadian Railroad Trilogy as one of Gord's greatest early triumphs. A lot of his early work is completed devoid of drums, so the heavy percussive nature of this track makes it stand out even more in his catalog. Let's finish it out with the great Gordon Lightfoot. Wow, the great Gordon Lightfoot, Black Day in July. Just an epic song, right? 7 verses, then he repeats verse 1 at the end. 2 different bridges in there. Very Dylan-esque in the songwriting on this, just telling that story that unfolds. Just fantastic. He sounds great. Even though there's percussion in here, it's the right level of arrangement not to overshadow these very important lyrics. And I wasn't alive during the Detroit riots, but I know a lot about them. I used to be a history teacher, and I've read about them. I mean, there's been some movies about them. Movies are always take a little dramatic liberties in there, but a very, very tough blight on my country, the United States. But there's several of those throughout our history in the last 50 or 60 years. I guess 70 years, actually, really. Joseph didn't say I had to pick a winner in each one of these categories. I just chose to do that. I'm not going to pick a winner in this one. I think both these songs deserve to be in there. And if I picked a winner, I think it would diminish the other ones. So let's review my favorites. In the first pair, which were 2010's album openers from veteran Brit bands. We got FM with Black Magic. Second pairing were 70s classic rock singles. I got Deep Purple, Black Knight, pulling the upset over Steely Dan. Pair 3, 2010's European hard rock / metal. I got Eclipse, Black Rain, taking out Avantasia. Vietnam War inspired tunes. Dennis DeYoung of Styx fame gets upset by Renaissance, Black Flame, and then all-time legends. We're going with both of these. We're going with Black Day in July from Lightfoot and Black Star from David Bowie. So thank you to Joseph for putting this very unique list together, and a list that I'm sure took quite some time, right, to curate these songs and then figure out how to pair them and all that good stuff. So let me know what your favorites are here. Any other suggestions for good songs with the word black in their title? All right, guys, until next time, I will see you.